All right, this is from the study plan 4.4.9, and they give you these three zeros, and they want you to come up with the polynomial. First of all, just like the one I did earlier, when you have a square root like this, they always come in conjugate pairs. See how that's 2 plus the square root of 2? You know, even if they don't tell you, that will come in a pair, and it would be 2 minus the square root of 2. The first sign doesn't change, but the sign right in front of that radical, one would be positive and one would be negative. That holds true for these complex numbers as well. So if you got 3 plus 5i, you know you'll have the opposite, the conjugate of that, 3 minus 5i. So they always come in pairs. Okay, remember when you write out zeros that you always subtract. So it's going to be x minus, and one time it would be 3 plus 5i. It's always x minus, and one time it's going to be 3 minus 5i. So make sure you get that part right. Let's not make it difficult. And then here, if you think about it, you're going to do x minus a negative 1. But x minus a negative is going to give me x plus 1. So this is my polynomial in factored form. That's not really what they want. Make sure when you multiply these two together, multiply the ugly stuff together first. Now, if you do it right, the ugly stuff will cancel. Okay, and by ugly stuff, I mean your eyes. And one thing you might realize here in just a minute, you have to know this, and yes, they are assuming you remember this, but you need to remember that I squared, by definition, is negative 1. So just make sure you realize that. Okay, here we go. We're going to take this x, multiply it times everything over here. We're going to ignore him just for right now. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. X times negative 5i is negative 5xi. Then we'll move on. This is going to be negative 3 times everything over here. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times a negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 times a negative 5i would be positive 15i. And then we move over here. 5i times x is going to be, you can write that 5ix or 5xi, whatever. They're going to cancel anyway, so who cares? 5i times negative 3 is going to give me what? Negative 15i. And then 5i times a negative 5i. Now, I'm going to do this in 2 steps, but first of all, positive times a negative is negative. 5 times 5 is 25, and I times I is I squared. But because this right here is negative 1, I'm going to get this negative and a negative. I'm going to end up with a plus 25 right here. Okay, so be real careful. You can do that all in one step if you want, but make sure you realize this is going to be a positive 25. Now, remember, if you did things right, ugliness will cancel. See this negative 5xi and the positive 5xi? They're gone. You see the 15i minus 15i? They're gone. So that's cool. So what am I left with? I have an x squared. Here I have a negative 3x minus 3x. That's what? Negative 6x. 9 plus 25 is what? 34. So that should be it. So notice ugliness times ugliness gave me a trinomial. And then I'm going to multiply that times x plus 1. So x squared times x is x to the third. X squared times 1 is x squared. Then I move on to negative 6x, multiply it times everything over here. Negative 6x times x, negative 6x squared. That's going to give me what? Negative 6x. And then we'll move on to 34, which is going to give me 34x plus 34. So combining like terms, that's going to give me what? Negative 5x squared. That's going to give me what? 28x plus 34. So this is your polynomial. It has a degree 3, and it has these 3 zeros. Notice 1, 2, 3 zeros to the third power. And there you go.